Welcome to Red Vest Live. My name is Alexandra Sasha Gorishek, and on this live, we are talking about supporting local humanitarian action. With me here is Javier Castellanos, IFRC Undersecretary General for National Society Development and Operations Coordination. Welcome, Javier.
Thank you very much.
So we will talk about the importance of advancing locally led humanitarian action and the IFRC's ongoing efforts to overcome some of the challenges in empowering national Red Cross and Red Crescent societies to do just that. So, Javier, why is it important to promote locally led humanitarian action?
Thank you very much for the question. I will probably put it first. When we talk about the Red Cross, Red Crescent, we talk about 190,000 local branches. So the Red Cross, Red Crescent has always been local, and I think it's important to put it there. But locally led action requires not only the capacity to exist in a country, in communities, but it requires also the capacity to ensure quality services, quality delivery. And reaching 191,000 local offices of the Red Cross, it is a humongous, big task that we need to take into consideration. So why is important in that sense? And the way I would like to frame is always, I try to picture the three rings. Mm-hmm. The ring number one is the capacity of the Red Cross, Red Crescent societies to exist in the country. This means in a headquarters or in local branches or sub-branches or local committees of the Red Cross. And that means that it requires basic conditions to operate. The second ring, a little bit bigger, is the big of the capacity to deliver and to mobilize. So what does it mean this? When local action happens, not necessarily you have all the capacities at the very local level, but you have the capacity to mobilize the network to support that particular part that is in need right now. But at the same time, it has to have the capacity to deliver, right? And then we have the warehouses, for example, pre-positioned stocks, et cetera, can be part of the capacity to deliver. And the third ring, which is the largest or the bigger ring, is the capacity of a national society to scale up. So this means that from the headquarters to the local committee of the Red Cross or Red Crescent Society, that capacity to connect as a system is what allows a good local action. And that's why it's important the investment on those capacities and understanding that those capacities in reality are constantly challenged by the context, right? Be conflict, be emergencies, be disaster, be epidemics, you name it.
So you already mentioned some, but can you be more specific? What are some of the barriers that IFRC network, so all of the national societies, have faced in enabling this locally led action? And what is IFRC, the Secretariat, doing in addressing these barriers?
Well, let me put first more generic, because it's important to talk about context. There is no such a thing that one context is equal in every part, right? And every crisis or every disaster is equal in every part. And that becomes a barrier itself, because it means that you need to understand the local conditions where you are going to operate. But to do that, second barrier is that has a cost. That requires a lot of investment, not only on understanding the situation, but building the capacities of the national societies. And financial resources are shrinking. And that's a serious topic in order to be able to address. And the third one I will call the global bureaucracy in terms of huge level of demands, which is good, it's important. It is important to build transparency, it's important to ensure accountability, but there is not alignment in terms of flexible funds, for example, long-term funding, predictable funding becomes a barrier when there are not those conditions in place.
The international conference where we are right now has proposed a resolution for adoption on exactly this, enabling sustainable, locally led action by national Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. What does the IFRC aim to achieve with this resolution? What is the hope for it to bring to solve?
Well, the first one I would say is the recognition that frontline humanitarian workers are those who are just there, close to the humanitarian situation. And that comes together with the importance of duty of care, safeguarding, the importance of protection of the work of humanitarian workers and volunteers, etc. So that's the first part. The second part is saying it has to be a trusted organization in local communities. And that trusted organization requires the investment needed in order to maintain that level of trust and leadership and conditions to operate with the transparency that is needed. And that requires investment. And the third element is to say, if you have one or several local actors with those conditions, how we ensure that coordination mechanisms at local level with different local actors can be a positive factor of change, effectiveness and efficiency in the way resources are used and impact is achieved. So the resolution aims to look into those elements to guarantee that is understood how institutions like the Red Cross, Red Crescent operates with along principles of humanitarian action, but also along the fundamental principles in general when universality, unity, and volunteering are critical factors for local action.
Thank you, Javier, for bringing this important topic of supporting local humanitarian action to our audiences outside of the walls of this international conference in Geneva. Don't forget to follow us for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.